Hello. I'm sure I'm going to rattle you with this talk because I want to talk about giving. And I'm going to start off by suggesting that when we as a church stand on a Sunday morning and do the giving talk and then send around a plate or a bag for money is probably one of the most ludicrous things that we could do. It would be equivalent to inviting somebody over that we would want to befriend, giving them a meal and then asking them to pay for it. You see, when we look at the church environment today, most churches have only got one advertised environment where anybody wanting to pursue a relationship with God would come along to, and that would be the Sunday service. And then as they come in, we give them the talk about giving and then put a bag for money in front of them. It just does not make any sense. And so when it comes to giving and tithing, I don't necessarily want to talk about that, but I do want to ask you a question. Have you ever, in your conversation with people, said or admitted that you have given your life to Christ? Now, Paul makes a statement like that in Galatians, where he says, I have been crucified with Christ and I no longer live. Now that sounds like 100% commitment. But if you had to look at to what extent you are committed, what percentage would you put on that? You know, if we relate it to giving, and very often church leaders will present you the concept of tithing, expecting you to put in 10% of your income. The reality is, as people have done surveys on this, is that most church people put in less than 5%. So doesn't that indicate that there's a problem? Something is not lining up. If you are saying that you've given your life to Christ, but actually when it comes to giving, you are not really giving at all. And not just of your finances, it's also of your time. How much of your time and your energy are you committed to giving to the Lord? And if it's not close to where Paul is, absolute commitment, then I would suggest that you maybe need to come before the Lord with that and ask him to maybe show you if there's something in your life that is displeasing to him, because the Lord does want us to be totally committed to him. And so then when it comes to giving, the interesting thing is, if you actually really did a study on tithing, a proper biblical study, you would see that there's actually 3 tithes over a 7-year cycle. So anybody subscribing to the tithing principle will in reality end up giving about 23% of their income to the church. Now, I don't know if we want to go there. I want to just bring you back to that original point to ask you, how committed are you really to the Lord? How close are you to be able to say, I have been crucified with Christ?